Hello and welcome to the Imperfect Show. Glad to have you with us this week. My name is Jeremy, this is Susanne, and we are here to talk about something that I trust will be a help to you and an encouragement to you. Every week we do our best to just talk about life, and life is a really big subject. It involves relationships, families, work, just decisions that we make, our purpose, our roles. We've talked about identity, we've talked about a lot of things. It's all life. It's the stuff that makes up who we are and what we do. And it is imperfect. Life is imperfect. The people involved in it are imperfect. We're all just doing our best, doing the very best that we can. But along the way, we learn things that can be used to help other people. And a lot of those things are learned by trial and error, unfortunately. And that's a tough way to learn. And so it's helpful to have things like this where we can talk and try to share some of those things with others who may be dealing with those, trying to find their way out, or at the same time, haven't gotten there yet. And hopefully in some of these cases, that's you. And we can share some of the dumb stuff we've done and be a help to you. And today is really that topic. That's what we're talking about, is helping others. Something that is thrown around, a word that's thrown around, and an idea that's thrown around a lot is the idea of mentoring. Susanne and I have talked about this quite a bit. And mentoring is very, very important. I think it's also extremely misunderstood. In the church world, we use another word, it's discipleship. And discipleship is helping people know what they should do and know how to live and know how to move forward in their lives in a good way, in a way that reflects their faith. But outside of that, we talk about leadership, and leadership is needed. But mentorship really, I think, is generally understood as a more personal, kind of one-on-one, face-to-face, us talking across the table, trying to help you make good decisions type of relationship. So it's not discipleship in the sense that it's teaching you how to live according to a standard. It's not that. It's not leadership in that I'm just telling you to be quiet and follow me and we'll get there. It really is the sharing of experiences and the sharing of life to help one person get to the place they really need to be and would like to be in their lives. And it's very, very important. So we want to talk about mentorship for a few minutes today. Again, maybe this is something you've thought about, something you've considered, something you're involved in. Maybe you even have the official title of mentor somewhere in your workplace or in your school or somewhere else. But I want to talk about it, what it is, some lessons we've learned along the way, and again, hopefully some things that can be a help to you. So let's talk about mentorship. What are some things about mentorship that are important to you, Susanne? Some things that you've learned and lessons that you'd like to share.
Mentorship, when I think about that word, it's really, I feel like it doesn't matter how old you are in your life. And I think the people that watch the show are kind of all walks of life, different stages of life. But I don't think it matters how old you are or kind of what stage of life you're in. I think that's something that you can always have as a part of your life. You can be, junior high, high school, college, career stage of life. There's always someone around you that can mentor you or that you can mentor. And so that's kind of one of the things that sticks out to me when I think about that word mentorship. It's something that you can always have as part of your life, no matter where you are and where you happen to find yourself. And it's a really important piece to not only to have someone that can speak into your life and that can help you, but also that you can pass down to someone else, and kind of like a pay it forward thing is what I think about. Right. And so that I feel like is really important, is to have it in your life no matter where you find yourself. And it can be such an impactful thing to have someone do that for you, but then to have, doing it for someone else. And I also think it's really important that when you have someone as your mentor, that it's someone that is kind of has life maybe figured out a little bit more than you do, someone that's maybe gone through some of the same things you have.
At least in a particular area, right?
Yes. And I feel like that it could be you have a person that's in different parts of your life is that for you. And so I think those are kind of a few things that come to mind when I think of the word mentor and having that as part of your life.
Who are some people maybe, or some examples that you can give of mentors that you've had in your life? Some people who have helped you along the way.
I think all throughout my life, I feel like there have been people that have.
Because that look on your face made me think that maybe there hasn't been.
Maybe I just didn't want you to
But
ask me that.
I know there have been a lot of
didn't want you to
mentors in
ask
your
me that
life.
question.
You don't have to use names.
I don't
You can
think
protect
that
the innocent.
I have understood maybe the importance of having that in my life until I maybe have gotten a little bit older.
Yeah.
First time I really remember maybe mentoring being a part of my life in a more formal way was I think I was in high school or college, and the wife of the man that was a pastor at our church at that time that I was going to, she kind of took me through I think it was a discipleship curriculum. So it was more of a kind of a formal, and they were a much older couple. So this pastor and his wife, so she was a lot older than I was, and she really had an impact in my life during that time. And we met once a week, and she kind of took me, I'm pretty sure it was kind of some kind of a discipleship curriculum.
It was
she took me through.
faith-based. It was
Yes.
a program of learning.
Yes.
Right.
And so that is the first time I can look back on a kind of more of a formal time where someone that was older than me, that had obviously, lived life in a much larger way than I had up to that point, and really kind of took me through a more formal type of mentor, type that was more of a formal type of mentor relationship. Yeah. And so that was the first time in my life that I can think of that I purposefully had someone in my life that was doing that for me, but that I could go to. Yeah. And so that was the first time for me. But I think since then, I probably have not taken it seriously until maybe just the last 5 years or so, is on purpose having people in my life that I can look to as mentors for me, but then also that I'm kind of giving that to someone else as well.
Do you think it has to be a formal process? They're the mentor, I'm the mentee, or is it more about the relationship and less about the titles and the fact that we're meeting once a week to sit down and talk?
I think it definitely, probably for the most part, just needs to be a casual, just it's a part of your life. Right. Because I think even as a parent, you are mentoring your kids, and you're not going to say to them, look, we're going to meet. And maybe there's a time for that. But I think for the most part, we always have people in our life that we can be mentoring just in a casual kind of way. Right. You have friends, maybe you have on purpose some relationships in your life that you're trying to help in some way. And I think that just needs to be a part of our life. And definitely there's times to have it be a more formal type of, where someone maybe seeks you out to help them with something, or of someone that you can reach out to in that way. So I think that it doesn't always have to be a formal kind of thing. I think it just could be part of our life in the relationships that we already have. So that's what I personally think.
But I think that too, it's not even about having a mentor for a particular stage of life. It's more about having people in your life that can speak from a place of experience, if not authority, but experience in particular areas of life. Yeah. I know that over time, growing up, it was coaches in high school, and in college it was teachers, people who didn't just teach or run the practice, but would actually speak into my life and help me to understand things that I was going through and that I was dealing with, and at different times dealing with different things, going to different people that I knew had those experiences. But sometimes I think we kind of designate, well, they're my mentor, they're the person that's mentoring me. But who mentors you in business may be different than the person who mentors you in family relationships and other relationships that you might have, or other things that are going on in your life, or even those discipleship or faith relationships. Yeah. So you can have a series, a whole bunch of mentors in your life that are speaking into specific areas of your life.
One of the things I feel like is really important when you have people like that in your life is that they're kind of moving forward in the same way that you are. And so this is where I've seen maybe people not quite understand mentorship and what that should look like. When we talk about mentoring or discipling from a faith perspective, is if you are a person that's a Christian and you have put your faith in Christ and that's how you're trying to live your life, then the people in your life that are your mentors should be people that have also put their faith in Christ and that are trying to live according to the Bible and that are moving forward in that way. And so that the things that they're speaking into your life about are all based on that.
Sure.
And so I do feel like that when you're looking at mentors, it's really, really important. And obviously coach, if you're playing for a city league of sports, they're not going to be maybe a person of faith that sees that in the same way that you are. But I do feel like in the sport, they are able to kind of be maybe an encourager or a mentor, maybe challenge you to do things that you would have never thought you'd be able to do. So I do think it's possible in certain areas to have maybe mentors or people that speak into a specific area that are not maybe seeing things the same way that you are. But when you're looking at living life, like, if you're a mom or a wife, or, you're trying to, I don't know, move forward in a ministry or make those kinds of decisions for your life and parenting, I don't think that the person speaking into your life should be someone that does not see those relationships and that part of life the same way as you do. Yeah. So that's kind of what I
you need to be approaching life the same way. So even if I'm not where I want to be, I need to have an idea of where I want to be and find someone who can help me get closer to that goal. And part of that is there's this idea of a mentor mindset, and that's on the other side of this, which we'll talk about in a moment, is being a mentor and having the mindset to mentor other people. But I think as just human beings, we need to have a mentor mindset that says, I need people in my life that can speak truth and help me to get to that next stage, that next phase, that next place. They can show me pitfalls that I might not see on my own. They can help me to understand those things. But along with that, so part of it is I don't need someone to walk into my life and say, I'm going to mentor you in this area.
Yeah.
It's on us to find people who are where we want to be, or at least they're moving that direction, and then kind of get behind them and get close to them and ask them questions. And that's why the idea of a formal mentor relationship, it may not be that. It may be someone that you know that can help speak truth. But along with that, when I say, I know that I need to have people in my life who can speak truth into my life, I can acknowledge that. I can look at human history and know that that's important. I also need to decide along with that I'm going to trust those people when they give advice or give direction or say, hey, based on my experience, this is what I think you should be doing right now. It doesn't mean blindly follow, but if you're going to put those people in your life, don't reject what they say simply because you don't like what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's very much an intentional act for me to find someone. What are some of the things that you would say, maybe in your own life, maybe in the lives of people that you've seen, some of the things or some of the reasons that having mentors is not something that should be optional, that it should be something that you go out and find someone, or you call someone up and say, hey, I need to get advice on this. Some reasons that having mentors, having those people in your life is absolutely essential. And I have a list of people in my mind that I know based on whatever I happen to be going through, I can call them and they'll help me out. I mean, I've got friends, people that I've known for many, many years, some that I've only known for a short time. My dad has been a consistent mentor in my life, and a lot of other people. But why is it that we have to have those people in our lives? Again, it's not optional. And I think this is one thing people think, well, that'd be nice. It's not nice.
Right.
If you're going to succeed or do more, you have to have them. Why? Right.
Well, it's exactly what you said. If you're going to succeed, none of us have arrived in life. None of us are perfect. I mean, the show is called The Imperfect Show. And that's really why we thought of calling it that, because, no one's arrived. No one has, maybe we've succeeded in areas of our life, but no one has ultimately, mastered life.
Until you're dead, you're still moving toward the goal.
Always trying to figure it out. And so really, when you have that, I feel like it's very important to, and maybe this is a whole other topic for another time, to have a growth mindset where you're constantly looking to grow, to better yourself, to move forward in these certain areas of your life. And you're constantly, I feel like in life it's important to evaluate and to make changes where necessary so that we can be the best people that we can be and the people that God wants us to be and as we're living life. So for that reason, it's important to look for those people that you can have in your life. And maybe it is seeking someone out that you see is doing that one thing really well and they seem to have it figured out and you kind of are trying to improve in that area of your life. Or maybe it is just on purpose evaluating your friends and evaluating your friend group and the people that you spend time with and looking at that and saying, like I don't have the best relationships in my life because they're not helping me to grow in these particular areas. And so really it's important to have mentor type relationships in your life, whether on purpose or just in a casual kind of way, it's important to have those people in your life because it's to have that growth mindset, to be able to, move forward and to really be able to start to try to figure out how to succeed in life. And so that's why I feel like it's important to have those relationships. And it's not just it'd be nice, and I wish I knew people like that.
Right.
It's on purpose because we need to be living life intentionally.
Right.
And so even in that area, if we're going to do that, it's really important to have those relationships in our life and either on purpose seek it out in a formal way. Maybe you need to have someone take you through a formal, discipleship or mentorship kind of, where you meet once a week and do all that. But maybe it's just evaluating the group of people that you spend time with. And these are not the people that I need to be having speak into my life and helping me. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
But what about you? I mean, do you think that it's something?
One of the phrases that I've heard throughout my life growing up, which means I've probably been around good people, is this phrase, leaders are readers. So leaders are readers. And that's been attributed to a lot of different people. I don't know who actually said it the first time, but leaders are readers. And you look at the lives of these great leaders over time, and most of them were people who would read piles of books. Technology's changed, and so now it's about listening to podcasts and recorded books and those kind of things. But at the heart of that statement and at the heart of that truth is that leaders, people who are in charge of things and leading things and carrying people forward and overseeing processes, they're people who understand that they don't have it all figured out. Mm-hmm. And one way for them to get a better perspective is to go to books. And a book really, in a sense, is a mentor. Mm-hmm. A book is someone sharing their experiences and maybe their expertise, maybe just their story with us in a comfortable way. It's a way that we can sit, and it's very non-intrusive, and we can read and understand. But it's a way for us to look at their life experience, to gain the lessons that they've learned, and then to apply those to our lives. Why are leaders readers? Because they understand I cannot get further without people than I would with people. Right. Because we're just who we are. We can go as far as we can. Unless there's someone out there saying, here's a different way, here's something else, here's something to be careful of. And I think a lot of very good people make really dumb mistakes because they're not willing to listen to those who have gone before them. And so to that end, if you want to be more than you would be otherwise, if you want to have the best relationships you can have and do the best at work that you can do and make the best financial decisions you can make, in all those areas, whatever the area is that you're dealing with in your life, you have to have someone that can give you a different perspective. We tend to operate in this echo chamber. So we get friends who are like us, and we have kind of the same thoughts. And so it's constantly reinforcing what we already believe. And what a mentor does, whether it's a book or a podcast or a person sitting across the table from you at coffee, what they do is they give you a different perspective.
I kind of feel like people shy away from those kind of people in their life too.
Yeah.
The reason we make friends with people that are like us, not like the same things that we do, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, of course.
But those are, sometimes on purpose, we put people in our lives that are like yes people to us, and they're always affirming us, always like, they're doing the same things as us, but they don't challenge us. Yeah. And I think we shy away from having people in our life that challenge us, or maybe having friends that maybe do things a little bit differently than we do, or maybe would push us to, in certain areas of our life, and that can be really dangerous to only put those kind of people around you. Yeah,
absolutely. I forget who said it, but it goes something like this. The phrase is something like this: we are the sum total of the people we spend time with and the books that we read. And again, that speaks to this. It's about those mentoring relationships. In my life, and I know in yours as well, there have been mentors for different seasons, and as I've grown and matured and worked through some of those seasons, I've needed mentors in my life. And I never felt like I had much to offer someone else. I remember when we first got married, we had a lot of good people in our lives. But two one maybe had been a group of people, and one was, a family that really helped us out. I mean, we'd been married a short time. We had a very young child. We went to a church, and those church people just kind of came around us and really mentored us in a lot of ways. I mean, helped us, told us what we should do. We had no idea. And then we moved to a place where, because of work, we were in a different place. We didn't know anything, and there was a family that took us in, and in a lot of ways mentored us. I mean, very intentionally, and helped us through a lot of things. I look back on that and think, man, we just needed them in our lives at that time, and we didn't even know it. But as we've gotten older, I think we've been able to take some of those lessons and start to help other people with those. And that's an important lesson in this process as well. Having mentors in your life is not just so that you can be better. It's so that you can be better, and then in turn, as you mentioned earlier, pay it forward for other people. So it's this kind of circle of life, right? That's why it drives me nuts when parents are more concerned about playing games with their kids than they are teaching their kids and helping their kids grow and learn. Play games, you need to have those relationships, but more than that, you're in their life so that you can take the things you've learned and then help them become better as well. And that's where it shifts from a I need a mentor mindset to I need to be a mentor mindset.
And just make it part of your life. I was sharing with you the other day that I've been reading through the New Testament, the Old Testament.
There's only 2 of them.
And it's really interesting because just finishing up 2nd Chronicles, and it's crazy because there's this like cycle. And if you've read the Old Testament, even just one time, you'll see this cycle of, this king came and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. The next person came who was that person's son usually, and he did not that which was right, or he did evil in the sight. And it's kind of like this cycle of like this dad, okay, now he is the king and he did good, he did right, he tried to please God and lead the people of Israel in the right way. His son became king and did the complete opposite that his dad did, and then maybe his son came and did the same, or did again that which was pleasing in the sight of the Lord. And so it's just like this cycle over and over again, and it's just caused me to wonder, like, what were these dads doing, and what can we learn from that? And it doesn't seem like there was, and we only know so much by what's recorded, in Scripture, and there's probably much more in all these stories than we could ever even know. But it really just caused me to think about that, is mentoring our children in that way, and our kids, and making sure that they are knowing how to live and what to do. And there was when I was reading about David, when he was giving his son Solomon the instructions about he was going to build the temple and he was going to be king and how he should do that and all those things. And really that was recorded for us. And who knows what those other men did, if they gave some of their sons the same instructions and then they just chose not to follow that. We don't know that. But specifically, David was kind of lined it all out for his son Solomon. And I loved reading about that because that's such an example of how we should mentor our kids. It's okay, this is going to be coming, and this is what God told me to do. These are the mistakes I made, and this is now what I'm advising you to do, what I'm encouraging you to do. And it's recorded for us that David spent quite a bit of time with Solomon, kind of explaining all those things to him in detail of how he should live and what he should do to please God. And I just really loved reading that, but also kind of took it as a lesson. David
should have spent more time with some of his other kids.
Probably.
Because they didn't all make good decisions.
No, but I really liked reading how he did that. But then also I thought it was interesting that just kind of that cycle of some did right, some did not, and just wondering how much of that had to do with, parents taking their kids aside and teaching them and showing them. And I mean, ultimately we all get to make our own decisions of how we're going to live, but I just feel like that's such a lesson of just kind of passing that on to our kids.
And, outside of the home, for everyone, we've all learned lessons. We need to share those lessons with other people. And I've been told many times, I can't tell them what to do because I made so many mistakes, specifically related to parenting. But in other areas of life, I've made so many mistakes, I cannot possibly share with anyone else what they should do. And in myself, I mean, I've had those thoughts too, where I'm around someone, clearly they need help, and I think, no, because I've just made so many mistakes, I don't have anything I can offer them. But really, probably the number one qualification for a mentor is that they've made some mistakes. If you have someone in your life that's perfect, don't ask them for help because they're not going to understand. They're not going to get it.
But the great thing is that we've all made mistakes.
Yeah, we've all made mistakes,
and,
as long as we're willing to admit that.
Yeah, and so that's why we're all in a place where we can be mentored and mentor. So, I feel like that's so much of the time that we spend not just with our kids, but with,
Yeah.
other people as well. Just, we've made so many mistakes, but just being in a place where you're able to say like, look, even though I'm only a few steps ahead of you,
Yeah.
let me show you how to get to where I am right now and
Yeah.
how I've been able to get to this place in my life. And
Yeah. The opportunity to help others is present if you'll just take advantage of it. And looking at your own mistakes and saying, I'm not qualified is ridiculous. With our organization, we've done programs in a lot of different places, but a couple of years ago, a team of us went to one of the state prisons here in California and did a program. And guys that have made mistakes, right? But we were on the yard specifically for those who are in prison, life without the opportunity of parole. So you can imagine what they did in their lives, the mistakes they made that caused them to be in that situation. And what most of those guys that we had the opportunity to talk to and spend time with over several days, what they really wanted to do was help other people know how to live better and how to not make the same mistakes they've made. And, they would say, how can we do this? I said, well, use what you can. They would write letters, stories of them using their time on the phone, which was limited, to call people, kids and spouses and others, and try to share some truth with them. That's as much mentorship as sitting down at a coffee shop and taking someone through a curriculum. It's not using your bad mistakes as an excuse. It's using them as a reason. I have authority to help you because I've been down this road and I don't want you to make the same mistakes I've made.
do you think that someone has to have messed up like in a horrible way to be able to help other people?
No, I think they have to have struggled with things in their lives. And this is one of the things that qualifies all of us is hitting a point in your life where you can go left or right and struggling with that and then going the right way instead of making a mistake. That may be the most important thing a mentor can say is, look, I know I didn't make that mistake, but I've struggled with that so badly. And people who seem to have lived a life without the major mess ups, sometimes we view those as people who have never struggled. And that is absolutely not true. They're just people who probably had mentors in their lives at those points. And those mentors helped them make better decisions. And so they made good decisions. And when they're mentoring you, sitting across the table from them, they go back to that moment and say, man, I've been in that exact spot. I had someone speak into my life. And I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but I had someone help me along the way, and I want to help you along the way as well. It's definitely that idea of paying it forward.
And the idea that we've all struggled, and we all know what it's like to do that. And sometimes, we make the decision to do the right thing, and sometimes we mess up and don't do the right thing.
And I think the point in all of it is we're all qualified to help other people. And if you say, because I guess that's the other side of it, someone can say, well, I've never messed up bad enough. It's funny how we can hide behind either one of those. If you're human, you've made mistakes, those mistakes qualify you. If you haven't made mistakes as bad as someone else's mistakes, you've had some people in your life that have helped guide you along the way. And you now have a responsibility to help other people.
I think that can be a real challenge challenge to people, that if you are looking for a mentor in your life, or you're looking for someone that maybe you're struggling with something, and maybe not to look to necessarily to the people that have messed up in the same way, but maybe look at someone that, they know what it's like to struggle, but don't disregard the people that seem to have it all together. Because maybe they have it all together because they have struggled and they have worked very hard. And I think we said this a while ago, they've worked very hard to make the right decisions. That doesn't mean that they haven't had struggle in their life, but maybe they are where they are today because they have struggled and they've just chosen to make the right decisions. So I think that can be a challenge for people, because I think sometimes we do get into that kind of rut where, like, well, the only people that have it all figured out are the people that have completely, derailed their lives and then gotten back on track and are now, moving forward in a good way. But that's not necessarily the case. Yes, they have it figured out now, and there's a testimony in their life of having majorly failed and gotten it back on track. But that doesn't mean that they're the only people to look to as, mentors or people that we can have in our life that can encourage us. And so that could be a challenge, for us as well to
Absolutely.
not discredit certain people.
Yeah, the mentor mindset is saying, I have something to offer, and I'm going to find people that I can invest in.
Yeah.
Because you do come to a point in your life, I think you always need mentors, doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. But you do come to a point in your life where you now have enough kind of life experience that you can begin to look for people to invest in. And really that's what makes life kind of worth living, I think.
Yeah, and not discrediting I think along with that, discrediting ourselves.
Our own experience.
You know, so if you feel like, well, I haven't, you know, like you were saying, I haven't really, you know, really done anything horrible in my life or made any horrible decisions that have wrecked my life, and not to think that you can't be used or that you cannot mentor someone else because you know, like you said, everyone does have something to offer and something to invest in someone else. Yeah,
we all have the opportunity to mentor others. If mentoring to us means sitting down with someone, spending time with someone, and helping them along the way. And again, it doesn't have to be a formal relationship. It can be just something as simple as, you know, let's get a cup of coffee. I'd love to hear what's going on in your life and listen and offer advice where that's a possibility. And then on the other side of that, look for people that are better than you. And no one person's better than anyone else, but someone who's done a little bit more, who's gone a little bit further, who's accomplished, you know, maybe a little bit more in whatever area of their life. Maybe it's their marriage, maybe it's their work life, maybe it's something else. But find those people and get close to them and ask questions. One thing people like is to be asked questions and to give advice. Find those people, listen to them, take their advice, and move forward. Mentoring is so important. And I really believe that if we're not being mentored, if we don't have those building relationships in our lives, and if we're not looking for others to mentor and to help, to encourage, to grow, then we're missing something in life. So yeah, and we just kind of get stuck in a rut and we're not moving forward. Stuck in a rut.
Yeah. And we're just going to be the same.
Yeah. We'll never be better than we are. But really important. Again, this is a very basic idea, but I believe very fundamental to living life. And I hope that's a help to you. Find someone that can encourage you and find someone that you can encourage. Be a mentor, have mentors, and you'll go further in your life than you would otherwise. Appreciate you watching and listening. If there is something you'd like for us to talk about, drop that in the comments. We would love to get that from you. That helps guide our conversation a little bit, and we'll do this every week, so we've got plenty of time. Also, share this content if you wouldn't mind. That would be helpful, not to us so much, but to those that we do this content for. Would love to get this to as many people as possible, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do that, and we'll continue to produce content that hopefully will be a help to you. We'll do our best. We'll do our best, but we're imperfect. Right. So is everyone else. Yes. Yep. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. And we'll talk to you next time.